Hi there, welcome to today's Team Clueless Battle Report. We've got another 3-player game today. I'm attempting to refine the rules for this. I think we're finally getting there. So, we have a densely packed terrain table as usual. We've even broken out the Thunderhawk for a bit of extra terrain. We've got lots of line of sight blocking. I really feel that in a 3-player game, when it's all against all, it really helps to have lots of terrain on the table to cut down fire lanes, so you can kind of like get out of the way of certain enemies if you wish. So, today is 3 of us playing, myself, Si and Mark, and here are the objectives on the table. This one is mine, down here, hiding between the Thunderhawk and this rock. Mark has chosen the refinery place to set up over here, and Si is over there, where I Si? You're
behind the forest.
Behind the forest, there we go. And as in all of our 3-player games, there is also an objective in the centre. So the one in the centre is worth 5 victory points, and the 3 at the home bases are worth 3 victory points. You also score points in the 3-player game for killing opposing units, 1 victory point for each, just like kill points. And we don't use the First Blood secondary objective, but we do use the killing warlords, so there are 2 opposing warlords you can feasibly get the points for. And you score the line breaker if you end the game either controlling or contesting any of the opponent's home objectives. Hope that's clear. Let's see what we've got in our armies today. Okay, we're playing 1500 points today, and I bought the Grey Knights with a little dollop of Imperial Guard allies, because, well, I wanted a vendetta. I feared Si was bringing a dragon, so I needed a vendetta to kill it. So, what have we got today? We have Cotiers there, and he's leading an Inquisitorial Henchman squad. I have 2 Crusaders, 5 Death Cult Assassins, 3 Multi-Melter Servitors, and 1 squat Techno Savant who's masquerading as a Jokero. We've already rolled for the Jokero's power, and he's given me the extra 12-inch range, which is awesome on those multi-melters. They're rocking around in a Chimera with Heavy Flamer. Also for troops, we have a nice squad of Grey Knight Terminators with a Psy Cannon, and they've got a mastercrafted hammer in there and a few halberds. We have 10 Strike Knights. They've got the mastercrafted halberd. They've got 2 Psy Cannons and Psy Bolt ammo, and they're running around in a little Rhino. And rounding out the Grey Knights, we have a Dread Knight fully tooled out. He's got a personal teleporter, a massive sword, and a heavy incinerator. For the Imperial Guard, we've got a Primaris Psyker, a Veteran Squad with Trip Melter, the Vendetta we may have mentioned earlier, and a Griffin for a bit of artillery support. We've done the Psychic powers as well. Cotier's rolled really well. He's got the one that lets me ignore cover, and the Prescience power, the Primaris one. What's it called? Anyone? It's called...
Trick.
No, it's called Prescience.
Oh,
this guy over here has Psychic Shriek, which is the telepathy Primaris power. But Mark is bringing Eldrad, as you'll shortly find out, so I probably won't be using them.
Right, with my Chaos Force today is being led by a Chaos Lord. He's a veteran with a Jump Pack, Mark of Nurgle, Power Fist, Sigil of Corruption, and his Gift of Mutation has given him Hatred. He's accompanied by 9 Raptors, also Mark of Nurgle. The champion has Lightning Claws, a Gift of Mutation which has given him instant death, and there's 2 Melter Guns in there. We've got 20 Cultists, all armed with auto guns, and there's a couple of heavy stubbers in there as well. Plague Marines with a power sword and plasma gun. 10 Marines with Mark of Nurgle, they're veterans as well, and there's a power fist and 2 melter guns in there, and they're being transported in a Rhino. There's a Hellbrute with a Reaper autocannon. Forge Fiend, and 5 bikes with the Mark of Nurgle, and there's 2 melter guns in there as well, and a power sword.
So this is playing pure melter army.
Okay then guys, this is my Dark Eldar force for the start of this game. Now I promise this is now like my new pledge, because unfortunately I started using these in 5th edition, and then the Grey Knight Codex came out and I just got completely disheartened. But I spent a lot of money, and I'm going to promise to use these, paint these, and actually make them a proper army in some sort of shape or form. So for today, I'm led by the Baron, who's awesome and broken. I have a Razor Wing Jet Fighter. He's got Flicker Fills and the Splinter Cannon. I have a Ravager with Knight Shields. The Raiders I'll come to in a second. This is my counts as beast pack for the day. I've got 5 of the beasts on the ground, and I've got...
They're called Snotlings, Mark!
And I have 6 stands of Chimera, which is the Invulnerable Save Brokenness. And they have 3 Beastmasters, one of which has a Venom Blade. I have 2 squads of 10 Kabalite Warriors with Splinter Cannons. They are in 2 Raiders with Splinter Racks. I also have a squad of 5 with a Blaster and a Raider with no upgrades. I have 6, oh, I've got the names of the jet bikes now, Reaver jet bikes. They have 2 Blasters, an Arena Champion with a Venom Blade. For an Eldar contingent, I have 3 Guardian Broker jet bikes of cheese, and I have Eldrad. And I rolled really well on my psychic powers. The first power I got was invisibility.
You cast them on the jet bike riders.
Then I've got Prescience, the thing that ignores cover saves, and the thing that allows Eldrad to have rerolls to hits, to wounds and saves.
Okay, so this is the setup we've gone for. You may have noticed on these free play games that the setup is quite strange. We basically get to pick locations on the board, and you don't get to set up within 24 inches of the opponent's setup zones and stuff. So Sai got to deploy first, so he's deployed a massive horde over here. Because he's first, he doesn't really get pinned in by the other people's deployment, so he gets to spread out quite a lot. So he's over there. You can see he's got his big brutish thing there, a load of cultists holding his objective at the back. He's got his Marines and his Plague Marines spread at the front, and his bikes around the side with the Rhino. I've set up over here. You can see I'm slightly pinned back because I'm not allowed to start within 24 inches of any of Sai's units. I've hidden my Griffin around there underneath the Thunderhawk. We've got our Rhino there, Dread Knight, Cody has his squad and their Chimera, and my Terminators there. Mark chose to do this, so he chose to pick his first deployment zone, but unfortunately that means he deploys last. It means he gets to go last, which in an objective game is quite useful. But Mark's deployment zone was not very big, was it, Mark? It was this little section here. So he's chosen to reserve his Razorwing flock with a Baron in, and also his Guardian jet bikes. The rest are all deployed. He's deployed the Ravager there behind the hardcover, and he's just put his, what are they called? Raiders. Put his Raiders down here covering each other a bit and hoping he survives the first turn shooting. His jet bike squads are down for Dark Eldar, and Eldrad is hiding at the side and he's attached to one of the jet bike squads. Let's see what Sai can kill turn 1.
Right, this is the end of each player's game turn 1. A quick little overview of what the board kind of looks like at the moment. So, unfortunately, this was a tale of bad luck on the forces of Chaos. They went first. They did a kind of a general advance and pushed on to middle objective and started kind of around here to the sides. He tried to do some shooting with this guy into a Chimera, but failed to pen it. Tried to shoot this into my Ravager, which was over there at the time, but my Knight Shield saved my bacon. And anything he could kind of shoot was out of range or didn't get through the night fight, etc. For the Grey Knights, he's kind of pushed his Dread Knight up here. The Griffin Mortar was in range and managed to fire in, managed to kill, I think, a biker, and has put a whole point and a crew stunned on the Rhino.
Certainly has.
Down here, the multi-melters were in range, and the last were in range of the Hellbrute, but unfortunately he failed to penetrate it. He rolled quite poorly. Down here, the Terminators, wasn't in range to shoot me, so he had to shoot down the Plague Marines, and this is where Sai's rolling started to go a bit Pete Tong. He managed to kill 4 of them for a 3+ cover save and feel no pain against toughness 5 as well, so that was kind of the start of the bad luck, really. I will admit to cheating slightly, having not used Eldrad before. I cast Invisibility on my Reaver jet bikes. I cast Prescience on my Reaver jet bikes, which I forgot to do, I suppose. And then I cast Prescience on this guy, which obviously, so next turn I'll be slightly hamstringing myself a bit. These guys are just kind of pushed up. These guys have started a ranged duel with the Terminators. I killed 1, but I expect I'm going to lose at least one of my birds next turn. This guy pushed up to shoot his Raptors and Chaos Lord, as did this, as did these, as you can see by the fact they're no longer there. My shooting was really good to hits but rubbish to wounds, so I only managed to kill about 3 or 4. But to make up for that, when I got into close combat, so my Arena Champion, sorry I forgot the name there, Arena Champion was able to kill his Chaos Lord in a challenge, which did earn Sai 1 VP, but managed to get me 2 VPs, which was really, really important. And then I managed to sweep the rest of the jet bikes as well, which was a really, really good turn for me. So that is end of turn 1.
Okay, this is turn 2 report. These were the least effective 3 turns of 40k you'll see for quite some time. On size go, he shuffled round sideways, round the side of the big mountain, and fired a load of stuff at the Dreadnought. Most of the stuff pitter-pattered off, but the two melter guns on the bike managed to do it 2 wounds, which was annoying. Other than that, he fired his 8 strength 8 shots from the Forge Fiend straight to the side of the Ravager over there. The Ravager took no damage from it. Oh, no, that was me who did the whole point. On my turn, I screamed on with the Vendetta here and fired my las cannons at the blessed Ravager. I managed to get a single glancing hit on it. Ooh. So it survived the Vendetta and the Forge Fiend firing at it. Quite good. Other stuff I did on my turn, I fired my Strike Knights who are in there with their 2 side cannons into the Dreadnought analogue, whatever it's called, Hellbrute. Did nothing. I fired my Griffin mortar. I fired it over at these 2 vehicles, trying to really glance the Rhino so it couldn't do anything on size next turn, but didn't do anything. My Dread Knight leapt over the bikers, flamed the bikers, and then charged in, challenged the champion, and killed him in combat. The rest of my shooting was pretty ineffectual. I just pitter-pattered off the sides of Mark's paper planes. He was using really good use of cover, so it was hard to get decent shots, but he made a lot of his saves. And we were just rolling really bad to glance. So we thought Mark's in a right position here to move on here, as we couldn't hurt him a lot. But then Mark had an awful turn as well. He fired more or less his entire army up at my Vendetta. He got 1 hit, I think.
1 hit, including repressions and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, he cast his psychic power, so he got 1 hit on me and failed to penetrate.
All my reserves stayed off.
Other than the little jet bikes are in, but his 2 reserves he wanted on, his Beast Pack and his Flyer, both failed to come on. So bad turns all round. Let's see if we're a bit more effective in turn 3.
And I lost my plasma lead.
Okay, so it's turn 3 and we continue the epic piss-poor rolling. So, starting with Si's turn, something actually went right on Si's turn. He fired the big old Forge Fiend over there at the Ravager, which was over here, and he actually killed it. Which was
shock and horror.
We were all quite surprised one of our rolls actually worked. Other than that, his cultists are still camping over there. He had a plasma gun on the back of that thing there, the Plague Marines there, fired it into the side of my Chimera, but failed to hurt me. Over here, the Hellbrute decided to try and rescue the bikers by charging in at the Dreadnought. He leapt into combat and using his Hammer of Wrath attack managed to deal a wound through my 2+ armour, but then I managed to invulnerable save away the hit from the Power Fist and I chopped it into tiny little pieces in return. When it got to my turn, I was still in close combat with the bikers, so I chopped up 3 bikers in combat. They're the only 2 models I've killed so far this game. Other than that, Si moved forward with his Rhino, got his dudes out with 2 melter guns, fired at my Rhino. 2 melter guns against the Rhino. You guessed it, he knocked the Stormbolter off. I then got out of my Rhino and poured a load of Cybolt ammo shots into his Marines, and then I also fired the Griffin at the Marines, and I managed to kill I think 6 of them, which was pretty good going, so I'm certainly firepower up in that exchange. Other than that, the Terminators backed up a bit because they were really struggling to get line of sight through this big industrial works here. They fired at the Plague Marines and I managed to take out the Plasma Gunner, which is good because he's the only one who's really threatening me there. This was shaken from the previous turn, so it moved forward 12 and snap fired out the back but failed to hit anything. If you'll remember, I had my Imperial Guard and Vendetta over here, so I decided I don't mind exchanging kill points. So I went into hover mode, backed up a bit. I got out all of the veterans with their shotguns and melter guns and the Psychic Shriek dude, and I opened up on the Reaver jet bikes. Yeah, that didn't go so well. I killed 1 or none of them.
1.
I think I killed 1 of them.
You did kill 1?
So then the Vendetta decided, yeah, triple las cannon into a paper plane. Yeah, that did nothing, which wasn't good. So then we move on to Mark's turn. Mark has kind of like moved back with his planes, and he got out and he poured a load of fire into the Impy Guardsmen. He's killed all the Guardsmen now, and the Primaris Psyker is locked in a challenge with Eldrad. Eldrad's got the reroll all his hits and wounds and things, so I was quite lucky to survive that with a couple of invulnerable saves. The Reavers moved forward and shot at the Vendetta, as did each of these squads back here, and with weight of fire they managed to come it down. Even though Mark had loads of shots, it took all of the shots to get it through, because we just can't roll on a damage table.
And I still failed my reserves.
Yeah, and his reserves are both still off. If they weren't both off, Mark would be easily winning, but because his reserves have failed to come on, it's still reasonably even at this point, because you got a lot of points off the board, haven't you?
Yeah, I've probably got at least
500?
600.
Yeah, a load of points off.
Yeah.
But luckily, his planes are indestructible, so it's still reasonably fair. So let's see what happens turn 4. I'm guessing not a lot.
Right, this is the end of game turn 4, and just to let you guys know, we're calling at the end of turn 5. Cultists are still there contesting as normal. Over here, the Grey Knight Strike Squad, which was obviously out last turn, did some shooting assault into Chaos Space Marines. They've been wiped out with a lot of their numbers still alive.
What happened previously?
Before the Chaos Marines got wiped out,
yep, sorry.
They shot 2 melters into the Dread Knight, doing nothing, then killed it with a crack grenade.
I was unhappy.
Kelly's exact words were, crack grenade won't do nothing.
Yeah, I remember saying that. No, I think my words were, I'm less worried.
Yeah.
Or I'm not worried, possibly.
There you are, folks. Never forget to shut your crack grenade. Never know what's going to help.
Yep.
Griffin pushed up just so he couldn't start threatening me. We opened that debate up again about what the bloody arc is. But
yep.
There you go. Terminators are pushing around here. Down here, my reserves came in because they had to, which is nice.
Only because they're forced. They didn't want to.
Beast Pack is up to here. I haven't finished moving it yet, just to hurry up with the game. These guys, Eldrad won the assault in his turn, and then managed to card Prescient. I poured tons and tons and tons of fire into these guys. I blew the Chimera up with a Dart Lance, and these guys have got out in Grey Knight turn. Loads and loads of fires and missiles and blast templates, and I killed like 3 servitors.
Killed 3 and a Death Cult Assassin.
Oh, and a Death Cult Assassin in the explosion.
Were incredible.
Yeah, he rolled so many 4-up saves, but that's the story of this game. And also the Terminators, or these guys managed to plink away the 2 Plague Marines.
It was the Terminators.
I destroyed one of your raiders over in this corner.
Yeah, one of the raiders got destroyed and it killed 3 guys in explosion. But other than that, this is kind of the situation with me kind of hunkering down and Grey Knights over here. So, yeah, that's it.
Okay, it is the end of turn 5. Unfortunately, I'm due at the cinema, so we're having to call the game here. So the story so far from the turns is I managed to move over here and get a charge off on the cultists. I got into combat, killed 4 of them, they killed 2 of me back, but luckily he failed his leadership test, so I cut them down and moved on to the objective, scoring me both the line breaker and obviously that objective. Over here I had my Griffin fire at Mark's jet bikes, but unfortunately I was really inaccurate. The Terminators moved back and got on my objective, but on Mark's turn, shock horror, is anyone surprised, he turbo boosted his jet bikes to contest. In the middle, I had moved forward all of my squad to get onto the objective in the centre. Mark had brought his Razor Wings round the side. Are they called Razor Wings? The Beast Pack, that's what they're called. Round the side, and did an epic 12-inch charge. He didn't need that much, he only needed a 7. But he did a 12-inch charge and got into combat with the whole squad, and he wiped out all my cultists there. The Baron has accepted the challenge of Cotiers. I'm going to roll that one on camera right now. Here's the excitement, okay. Mark has his 5 attacks. He's also got invisibility cast on his unit, so I'm not hitting him. And he's got rerolls to hit. Eldrad is a bit good with the Beast Pack.
So
he's got 3 hits, so he needs 2+ to wound because he's got strength 6.
Instant deathing though.
And this will cause instant death. Obviously I get my 2-up armour save.
So 3.
So 3 wounds. So down here I've got 3 armour saves. Eldrad,
score for me.
Cotiers is dead. The Baron has beaten him up.
Wow.
Okay, that means an epic victory to Mark. So the points at the end of the game, Mark has got 17, 18, 19 victory points. Sai has 5 victory points and I have 10 victory points. In the end, Mark had scooted his Eldar jet bikes over to here to score this objective, and he obviously held his home objective. He gets the line breaker for being contesting on this objective over here, and obviously he killed both of our warlords. So there. So, I mean, that was a really strange game. The first 2 to 3 turns, we just couldn't roll dice, could we?
No, it was just absolutely abysmal.
We could do nothing. I mean, Mark was playing Dark Eldar, and at the end of turn 4, he still had 3 of his Raiders left on the table. When does that ever happen?
Yeah, I think the game swung when I was the first one to have an average turn.
Yeah, that was it. You didn't have any good turns, but it was just an average turn. You could kill. I mean, my army, the only stuff I really killed was with the Dread Knight and the Spaceman and the Grey Knights over there.
Dread Knight was brilliant though.
Only in close combat. I didn't do any damage with my shooting. It just, it was. I don't know why. It wasn't particularly bad rolling, I don't think, but it just didn't ever seem to do anything. I just threw shots in stuff and did nothing. There were loads of hull points dealt, but we're never doing any things. I think you'd have really walked away with it, and you did at the end, but because your reserves didn't come in, otherwise you would have completely wiped it, because Sai and I were failing to hurt you. You weren't hurting us much back, but Sai and I were actually hurting each other.
Yeah.
The only deaths in the early turns were kind of like on this part of the board, mainly my Dread Knight moving forwards.
This was quite a big deal when I killed him.
Oh yeah, and you killed his Warlord. Yeah, that was a good swing as well. You killed Sai's Warlord turn 1, which was awesome.
I think I reckon I put enough firepower to have meant I should have done that. My shooting was crap, but my close combat was fluky. So
I think the main reason you won, because as I say, we all rolled badly for dice, that evens out, but I think your choice of setup zone was really good. You had, I mean, the reason I set the tables up, and in a free play game you need lots of terrain and you need lots of varied terrain, so that the person who goes to choose his area first does get a better choice, because otherwise it's really hard to balance how fair it is during the setup, because the person who chooses their setup zone has a really small area, like Mark was forced to deploy in this tiny little area here. But the fact that you got loads of line of sight blocking, used it really well with your paper planes and your jet bikes, for instance. You could hide them at the end of turn 4, and because we know we're finishing turn 5, they were just 2 automatic contests that we couldn't stop.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Reaver jet bikes, they actually committed. I didn't really hide them a lot.
No, it was only the turn 4 you hid them.
Yeah.
Other than that, they were just really good, weren't they?
Yeah,
they were
just
a really solid unit.
I really enjoyed them. This is kind of like I said, I want to start taking this to a tournament and playing it properly. So.
Yeah, this is a tournament army. It's that beast pack with Eldrad is just obscenely powerful.
Oh, it's better than our followers.
Cast invisibility in there, they'll beat anything in the game up other than possibly paladins.
Yeah, they're better than I thought. I gave.
Oh, they were ridiculous. They're so fast. They're so damaging because they've just got hundreds of attacks.
Yeah.
And they're really hard to damage because you can obviously cycle around the multiple wound things at the front.
Well, that's it, yeah.
I mean, the only thing I had that could really hurt them would have been the Dread Knight. Because they didn't come on until turn 4, my Dread Knight was dead before then due to that smelly crack grenade of size.
Well, never underestimate a grenade.
No.
Where remember your grenades?
But overall, I enjoyed the game. It was frustrating at times for all of us, just due to the really random die rolls.
Yeah.
Si, for instance, could not make an armour save on or a feel no pain on his Plague Marines. They just died to bolt guns.
Your saves, I could have poisoned, just failed me time and time again.
You couldn't wound me a poison. I couldn't hurt anything with my shooting, but my saves were awesome.
Yeah.
I think I lost one Strike Squad member the entire game. I was just free up, no problem.
3 or 4 turns, every damage roll. We got quite a few. It was all just 1s and 2s.
Yeah, we just did 1s to all the vehicles, didn't we? They were just losing a hull point here and there. Really strange game, but enjoyed it. The free player rules I think are working. It's obviously not perfectly even, and I feel it's mainly during the setup, just due to there's lots of finicky measuring during the setup, and it's really hard to balance 3 players on a table because there's no way of evenly spacing them. Obviously, if you had a triangular table, maybe that's a project of mine. Make a massive triangular table, but I'm not really sure where I'd store it. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. See you next time.